It would be a strong case to say that the bloke who's about to speak is the top CEO of any sport in this country. It's not a major sport, but when it comes to enthusiasm, when it comes to progress, when it comes to overcoming the odds, Baseball New Zealand is doing all of that. The CEO is Ryan Flynn. What's the most outstanding achievement of baseball in New Zealand over the last 12 months?
Murray, I'd say it would have to be the World Baseball Classic. We've risen from 119th in the world to 29th in one of the world's biggest sports. I'd say there's not another baseball team in the world that's done that, or a sport in New Zealand that's risen that far and that high as quickly as baseball.
So give me that again. You've gone from where to where?
We were last in the world, effectively. We were unranked. We were 119th. There's 119 countries at play. So we were anywhere between 80th and 119th, depending. We were just off the charts, let's say that. And then to go from 119th all the way to 29th. We're 29th, and I think we've been short thrifted a little bit. We should be 21st in the world, but we don't have enough funds to get to more tournaments. But I'd say we're 21st in the world right now, but right now our current ranking is 29.
So that was achieved by the performance of the team at the World Baseball Classic. Tell me about that classic.
Yeah, it's been around. This is its third go round, and Australia is going head to head with Japan right now in the Tokyo Dome. Basically, it's an opportunity. It's our number one event in the world. It's our Rugby World Cup in baseball. We're not in the Olympics because of some political decisions. Hoping to get back in 2020, but it's the one big every 4-year moment that we're aiming for. And Major League Baseball selected us to get in. And when we got in, a lot of people thought it was a real gamble by placing us in the WBC because we were unranked. Nobody knew about us. They have only heard of Travis Wilson and Scott Campbell. Never heard about a lot of great players, which we do have. And so we surprised the world. We really shocked the world, and it propelled us 70, 80 places in 1 year. So we'll take that. We'll take that for a first-year jump onto the charts.
So that's the single largest jump by any baseball nation in the past 50 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Nobody's ever jumped that far that fast, ever.
Who are some of the players who you've got on your player roster who are responsible for that jump? And tell me about where they're playing now and what they're doing.
Sure. Scott Campbell, who along with Travis Wilson is one of the most famous players to ever play in our shores. He was a baseball player that played at Howick-Pakuranga. He was all the way to AAA, which is one step away from Major League Baseball with the Blue Jays, and then 3 horrible operations on his hip, and he retired last year. And so he thought his career was done. And then we get into the WBC. He gets with a couple good doctors here in this country, put some cortisone shots in his hip, and then he goes up against Taiwan, the 5th best team in the world, and was the best player in that entire tournament, and saw that he could play again, and it lit the fire again. So there's Scott. I'm standing, and he's our youngest, probably the most highly recruited kid we've ever had in this program, Makauley Fox, who scored our biggest victory ever against Thailand. That was our first major victory, and he shut him down in that game against Johnny Damon, a player from the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees, and shut the entire team down. But we've got a lot of kids that you don't hear about a lot. There's Andrew Mark, who's from the Howick-Pakuranga area. He's off to Canada to play professional baseball. There's Boss Monaroa, who's with the Boston Red Sox. Tueta Bishop will be leaving for spring training with the Boston Red Sox. Daniel Devonshire, he'll be leaving to spring training soon with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's just it goes on and on. People don't see these kids, but they're all achieving huge, huge things. We're never in the final running for the Hallbergs. We don't get any funding. But these kids don't care. They just go out. We don't make excuses. That's the program we want to run. We don't want to make excuses and say we're from a small country. We can't compete. Yes, we can compete. Australia is 10th in the world. They just had 24 kids signed for $3 million. They've got 150 kids in college on scholarship, and they've only got 45,000 players around the country. And we've gone from 900 to 6,000 in just 2.5 years. And now our kids believe that they can play at Yankee Stadium. They believe that now. That's a big psychological shift.
So in dealing with Sport New Zealand, have you told them that you think that you're the fastest growing sport in the country?
Yeah, and and they said we've heard that from other sports too. And I said, well, check our records, and it's one of the biggest sports in the world, and our kids are going to college. Look at how many kids, Murray, we put in college and professional baseball in the last 2 years.
How many?
It's probably about 16 now, 17, with about 4 more ready to go. And out of that team in Taiwan, not only Scott Campbell, but 4 or 5 more have propelled themselves forward and are taking that next step. It's either Canada, America, Taiwan, Japan, or the ABL, the Australian Baseball League, which we hope to get a franchise here in Auckland. So now we're talking about we have about 22 Kiwis around the world playing high-level baseball. And, basketball is our good friend. We deal a lot with the Breakers and those folks, but we're basically achieving what the Breakers and basketball are here. The only difference is we don't have an ABL. We don't have a professional franchise in the city yet.
Ryan, looking ahead, if you were able to plan the future of the game, which you obviously have so much passion for, what would you do about softball?
I've had this discussion with good friends like the Bishops and the Nuku-Nukus and so many good friends in softball because, these guys are amazing guys in softball. They're world class. They're talented. They're strong. They can play with anybody in the world. And we're all the same. We grew up with a bat and ball in our hands, right? And it's a shame that the two sports have been apart. So if I could wave a magic wand, Murray, I'd bring the two sports together immediately tonight. And we would build something special for all kids in this country, for girls, boys, older men. Softball would remain strong at the men's level. Boys would start moving in baseball and going to college and getting an education, signing pro contracts, and we'd be getting a lot of the girls off to colleges in America, North America, like they are now. I mean, Softball New Zealand on their website right now, they have 3 girls coming home from American colleges to play for the Junior White Sox, and they're rightfully proud of developing those girls. And we're proud of developing our boys. And we do have a lot of girls playing, but we should be together. Internationally, softball and baseball have come together to get back in the Olympics. The United Kingdom has a softball-baseball group that work together for both sports. They're both from the same country. You hit a ball and you run around the bases. It's clear, and everybody knows this, it's not a secret, that the opportunities for college and professional are baseball. And if you sit down with any of the great folks in softball and talk about it, everybody agrees. If we come together, if we can figure this out, watch out. You're talking Diamond Sports is the number 1 summer sport in this country in the next 10 years. I mean, that's what we believe. We have to believe that because we have the talent. We've proven it, And, McCauley is standing next to me, just threw a no-hitter in the national championship just now. I mean, every major league team is chasing this kid right now. Every single major league team, they're throwing offers. He's got scouts flying out for one day to see him. And so certainly what he's achieving within the scope of a team is as impressive as what any junior All Black or any of our other top athletes is achieving, but it's just hidden. And so he doesn't always get the domestic praise that we think he deserves, but he's world class. I mean, he's considered as good as there is around the world. There's nobody that does not know where he is at any moment in time. And that's exciting. And we know from a lot of softball players playing baseball and baseball players playing softball that eventually there could be hundreds of Makauley Foxes. We all believe that. McCauley's shaking his head saying, we believe that too. The athletes are here. We don't need to be a big country to be great in baseball. We don't at all. So we're very confident that we're heading in the right direction. And again, we're not going to make excuses that we don't have any money, but we are chasing money in America. I think there's misconceptions that we get a lot of money from Major League Baseball. We do not. We run this on bare bones, but we do believe that we are proving ourselves now and to make a big break in the dam pretty soon. For someone to come along and say, look, it's very rare when one of the world's biggest sports could blow up in a country like New Zealand, and it's about to happen here. And Major League Baseball and all around the world, baseball people believe that that's accurate, that baseball is about to blow up here. And we're proud of that. We think it's going to happen too.
Well, hold on to that phone because I don't want you going away, but pass it over to McCauley and let me have a chat with him, and then I'll come back and conclude with you. I've been talking to Ryan Fox. He's Ryan Flynn. He is the CEO of Baseball New Zealand, and clearly, as you've listened to him speaking, you can understand why the sport has grown so rapidly and why it is making big inroads and why they've lifted to 29th in the world from 119. Joining us now, one of the stars of the sport, Makauley Fox. Makauley, Ryan has said that you're the number one prospect we've ever had in New Zealand history in baseball. What are your aims? Where do you want to go?
My goal is the big league. To be very honest, it's to get to the highest level. But the way I'm getting there is, either getting into a college in the States or signing a pro contract by the end of this year.
Well, he says you're being pursued by 30 MLB teams as well as the top NCAA universities. What's your feel? Will you go to a club or will you go to the university?
Right now, it's really 50-50. And obviously the lure of Major League Baseball is very strong. But the colleges I'm looking at and the colleges that are interested in me are top tier. They're the best in the country. They're the Stanfords and the Vanderbilts. And so the allure of them is very strong as well. So it really depends when it comes down to it, what's on offer.
And Makauley, who handles all that for you? Because, I recall only being in this position once in my life with a son of mine who was offered a series of universities in the States, and it wasn't a sporting scholarship, it was an academic scholarship, but I really couldn't help him. I had to get an expert in to help him. Who are the experts helping you to make this decision?
Well, Ryan's been a big help for me personally, but at the moment we're just trying to learn the ropes, learn the system, and we've got a few people who are up in Canada who are helping, who I've known for a long time. One of my first coaches, who's actually up in Canada now, is keeping in contact, and he knows the ropes as well. So we're really just trying to take help where we can find it, because down in this country, it's not a big thing, So we really are just trying to find help where we can.
And what are your family saying? Because, being a dad, I've always thought you've got to have 10 bob each way, get the academic stuff as well. What are your family saying?
Yeah, see, my mum's a big proponent of the college, just to get my education and get my degree. So whatever happens in the sport, I can fall back on that. And I believe her. I trust her as well. And that's why it's not such a, all I want to do is sign kind of thing. I definitely want to consider both options.
So, Makauley, over the next, how long have you got to make this decision?
Well, I become eligible to sign a Major League Baseball contract on June the 2nd. And so between now and then, I really have a buffering period where I'm not under pressure. But as soon as that rolls around, there'll be a bit of pressure coming on from both the colleges and the professional scouts.
Well, we wish you well with that, and obviously you're making your mark here for New Zealand. As a young Kiwi taking off in baseball, how did you get introduced to it? Why didn't you end up at the local cricket club?
Well, it's a really not that amazing story. I was at an after-school care program in primary school, and the head guy there was a baseball coach, and he said, come down. I just finished competitive swimming. I'd just given that up. So I had a bit of a hole in the sports of my life, and I said, all right, I'll come down, I'll give it a shot, and never look back.
Well, you're obviously enjoying it, and we do appreciate your time. Best of luck with the decision. It's an important one, but, obviously you've got the talent, and let's hope that you go well. Put me back to Ryan, will you?
Sure will do.
So we're talking with Ryan Flynn now, who's the CEO of Baseball New Zealand. Ryan, last hour I was talking to a number of people about cricket and the failure cricket has been in embracing Polynesian and Maori players. Are you able to get these into baseball?
They are. We believe they're coming left and right. I mean, that's been a huge bit of our outreach. When I arrived, I said, look, we don't want this to be a wealthy man's game. We want it to be the best kids, all kids in New Zealand to rise up, Korean, Caucasian, Maori, Pacific Islander. on our radar every day. We have outreach, and I feel like, I lived in Micronesia, Murray. I'm married to a Pacific Islander from Micronesia, and it's been a big part of my life, and I know how strong these kids are. And, the great thing about baseball, Murray, it's a great equalizer, the sport, because all body types can compete. And do we want the Polynesians? Absolutely. They're great kids, great families, great athletes. And, we see them coming now, and we think the trickle will turn into a steady stream over the next couple of years. We really believe that.
So, Ryan, your short-term plan, your 5-year plan, and then the ultimate goal, quickly run me through them.
Yeah, look, it's Murray. It's to put some more money in the program. We're running it on a couple $100,000 a year, and that stymies your ability to go out and attract coaches, right? I want to put, with the Board of Baseball New Zealand, which is a world-class board of directors and leadership at our clubs, we want to put more coaches on the ground. We want to build more baseball fields. We want to work with softball and other codes that want to work with us to develop talent and push these kids to greater heights, to Yankee Stadium and to great colleges like Pepperdine and others all over the country in America. And, we want to, eventually I'd be lying to you if I didn't say we wanted to be the number one summer sport in the country eventually. Why wouldn't you want to be that? Why wouldn't you, with such a beautiful game like baseball, want to take these kids and show the world what we can do from New Zealand? That's the goal.
There we are. You've heard it from the CEO of Baseball New Zealand, Ryan Flynn.